with no PDP, the only party for this country.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Tobago. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and everybody looking at this live this evening. My name is Mr. Sean McCoon. I am here joined with Pastor Terrence Baines. He actually just got off the road canvassing.
Yes,
Pastor Baines, tell us a little bit about your experience and what's been happening so far on the campaign trail.
Yes, and of course, good evening to all our viewers and wherever you're viewing this from. You know, the campaign, of course, is always a taxing one, because every day you have to be out there pounding the pavement, as it were, you know, over hills and valleys, in my Bujo Bantan voice, you know.
And we know your district of Bethel, Mount Grange, really has some hills and valleys indeed.
And but all things being equal, because of the present configuration of the district, it is a little less tedious as it was the last time around.
Right.
So we're thankful for that, and it is also a very rewarding exercise as well, you know, having to interface with the people one-on-one, and you know, and kind of get their own perspective and see some of the conditions and that people are living with, and you know, that helps to shape whatever you're going to put out as the plans that you want to have to improve the district, you know. So it's an informative exercise as well.
And we are here for PDP on the road. As you know, tonight we will be joining in a short while our public meetings at the Buku Mount Pleasant district, and we are pleased to, you know, have the opportunity to join some of our candidates and also the candidate for the Buku Mount Pleasant area, Mr. Sonny Craig. Now, Mr. Sonny Craig is a first-time entrant. What has your interaction been like with him thus far?
Yeah, well,
going into the campaign.
Sonny, you know, Sonny remains Sonny. I mean, you know, no pun intended. But since I know Mr. Craig, since I've known him, he remains the same.
Right.
You know, always a man full of life, and always struck me as a genuine man.
Yes. Very people-centered, community-driven individual, I must say.
Indeed.
And I heard some of his action group members, along with other members of the community in Buku and environs, Mount Pleasant, and a few of the folks from Canaan as well, saying that the slogan for his campaign is "Sunny Days Ahead." Yeah,
you understand.
And I found that to be quite refreshing.
Yes, indeed. And it speaks to really the type of representatives that are needed in this time and season that we live. Really, you really need individuals that have a love for people.
Yes, indeed.
You understand? Because these representatives and representing people is going to take an enormous amount of sacrifice. Some of it, you know, personal sacrifice and so on, and especially during the campaign season and so on. So I am confident that Sonny is indeed the kind of man, by virtue of his personality and so on, that will represent any district well.
I agree.
And I think that Buku Mount Pleasant, is it called?
Buku Mount Pleasant.
Buku Mount Pleasant.
The configuration remains the same, with the exception of one of the polling divisions from Canaan being placed in Buku
and that's the next thing too. Sometimes we when we're talking about them, because we have not gotten used to them yet, because it is so fresh. You understand? But he will represent well anyway, and I think that Buku Mount Pleasant are really should be happy that they have a man like Mr. Craig vying to represent them, you know.
And I think his value system and the type of representation that he would bring is also as a result and as a product of his community services,
Certainly.
through his church
Sure,
activities,
sure.
through his experience as someone who is very much embedded
Yes.
in community-based activities. I
Indeed.
think he is
Indeed.
an excellent candidate.
Yes.
And I think he really, really has a great impact to make in the Buku Mount Pleasant district.
I had a conversation with one of his fellow congregants, let me say that, who is not necessarily of PDP persuasion.
Right.
But I had a conversation with him just to ask what was the general feeling, you know, of in the church and so on, to Mr. Craig stepping forward. And he said, you know, that Mr. Craig has always been somebody that has been highly respected in the church and so on, and that respect remains.
Yes,
you know,
that's correct.
And I'm sure that he can expect support from those persons that are prone to support him and so on. You understand? I mean, we know that the church will always have people of different political persuasions and so on. You know, but I was very happy to hear that.
Yes.
And to know that is the man. You know, there are some people, you meet them like in a particular season, and 10, 15, 20 years later you meet them and they are the same people. They have the same,
that's
as you
right.
said,
and they have not changed in the least bit.
Indeed.
And you know, one of the terminologies that we would use in church, or that we would use when you know, a minister as yourself is articulating certain things, is that certain people have wisdom and stature. And I think that those characteristics are synonymous with Mr. Craig.
Yeah, he has wisdom and much stature.
He's a tall guy, you know.
Yeah. I
figure.
I would like to think that I have wisdom and some stature.
Some stature.
Yeah. You know, minimal stature, some will say.
That is all right, but good things come in
small packages. That's what people say. Some of them are magaine, but yeah. But you know, all joke aside, Mr. Craig is by all means a very good representative.
Yes.
You know, a very good candidate rather. You know, I speak things that be not as though they were.
Well, speaking it into being.
Indeed.
One of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about were some of the challenges that are experienced by the people, the constituents of Buku Mount Pleasant and yourself, Bethel, Newgrange, the neighboring district. What are some of the challenges that you have identified in those areas thus far?
Well, basically insufficient resource to treat with bread and butter issues.
Right. Just as
and that of course is as a result of the that's COVID fallout related stuff.
Yes.
You know, those are the attendant issues and so on. Of course, that is also punctuated by people who have some other little infrastructural thing, little drains and little stuff like that. But generally, our concern, and I suspect it is a concern in all the districts, is inadequate resources, particularly to those of us that are on the PDP side.
Right.
You understand? But I mean, we don't mope. We didn't mope over it.
No.
And I keep saying it over and over at the risk of sounding miserably, monotonous, that I saw tremendous innovation on the part of the PDP reps. You understand? Which speaks to the integrity of the representatives themselves in finding a way.
Yes.
Finding a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Indeed.
And I think COVID-19, the pandemic, and everything that transpired on not just in Tobago, but on a national level, along with the 6-6 that we experienced in January, really and truly, it gave the PDP the drive, and the fire, and the desire to really and truly get cracking, get innovative, get going.
Indeed.
And I think it's as you say, it speaks to the innovativeness. It speaks to the character. It speaks about the characteristics, the caliber of people and representation.
Indeed.
I mean, I would not want to bash anybody in particular or speak about anybody else opposite.
Yes.
But for those that have held the coffers of the treasury or the coffers of the assembly for so long,
Yes.
I personally am not seeing value for my representation.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and I'm not seeing value for money.
The thing about it is that, I mean, it is just purely an unacceptable and an unfair scenario, because what people do not appreciate is this, that they may think that they have just starved off 6 reps. But what they do not appreciate is that these 6 reps represent thousands of people.
Yes, yes.
So in essence, you have starved off half of the voting population of resources in a pandemic. You understand? And one would expect that these gentlemen would have some humanity remaining in them and not be so power hungry. You understand? And because some of the people that are in our constituencies are connected to them, are relatives and friends and so on. And because of us being PDP, they had to suffer of not being able to access resources, adequate resource, you know, in a difficult time like this, whether it be whatever social programs that is available out there, that are available, you understand, whether it's food card or whatever. I mean, one would think that we will get past the political foolishness because people's lives are at stake. But to spite PDP reps, you understand, to treat PDP reps as if we don't count, as
very unfortunate.
Yeah, as if, well, we won elections by some smartness,
or
by
fluke.
some you know, some unlawful manner. When in truth and in fact it was the credibility of our campaigns that caused us to win the election with
and
God's
the personnel
help.
that we would have presented to Tobago.
Indeed. And the people, I think that is the thing that bothers me the most, that they did not just lock out PDP reps, they locked out half of the persons that went to the polls and exercised their franchise for people to represent them and so on. And when we look at all the efforts that were made for there to be an amalgamation of the leadership, you understand, so that everybody will be catered.
And then you have members of parliament getting up on the platform and saying things like nobody lives there. Now I understand what she thought she was trying to bring across. Right?
But you see,
but it's unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
We were at a disadvantage from the get-go, you know. Because we were in a match where the referee is the captain of the side and the referee of the game. You understand what I'm saying? But notwithstanding, though, notwithstanding that it did not at all diminish the caliber of the PDP reps.
Exactly. In fact, it inspired them to get more creative, to get more innovative, and to find mechanisms in which they can still go about regardless or irrespective of the challenges faced or the financial drawbacks or constraints.
Indeed.
It still pushed them to provide the best possible representation.
Indeed. And I also wanted to say too, I think that people in Tobago understand value for money. So people knew that you can't make bread out of stone. In other words, there's something that they didn't expect from the PDP. There were 1 or 2 people who thought, because in my district in Bethel New Grange, there is a plethora of works and activities taking place in there, and people are actually calling me and asking me to come and fix a road for them. They hear I fixing the road. You understand? I mean, I also agree that it is because people voted for me that they have all this activity. The people voted in a particular way, and because they want to win back the
it's as though they're trying to prove up. And that is quite unfortunate as well, because it speaks about the culture of politicking that has the cultural aspect of the politics that has existed for the past 20 years. And in this case 21 years, because
but here's another thing too. It also speaks to the dishonesty of of the narrative that was out there too, because the former rep, one of his lamentations when people ask about why they didn't get the service was because he was not he didn't preside over a division that he was not able to do something. But you lose
Right.
You lose and you're presiding over works. You lose and we're finding somehow they have magically been able to shake a money tree and find these millions of dollars to do all this work. They really think people stupid. You understand? You know, and what I am heartened by is that people don't understand how the Tobago population have grown and have been taking note of what has been taken on the political landscape. What have been taking place. Yes. And I wanted to say as well that the population had an opportunity to have a kind of preview.
Yes.
Of what
the style of governance.
Not only that, but what kind of representation you can expect from
which
PDP
is
reps.
one of the major tenets of governance.
Indeed.
It is representation.
Indeed.
Governance is not just about having a division or doing things out of a division, but it also comes back to representation. Yes. Right? Now, while you may hold a division, when it is you get into the assembly and the executive council, etc., is formed.
Yes.
And certain people are given certain responsibilities by way of their divisions. You still cannot neglect the people that put you there.
And one of the things that really encouraged me in the PDP plan was that each electoral district will be afforded resource equally, so that the work that needs to be done in those districts can go ahead, whether you preside over a division or not.
Exactly.
Which I think is idealistic in it, so nobody can make no excuse. And I believe if you have the political will to do something, you will find a way. So I never really buy that excuse. I
don't buy it either.
I never buy it.
I think it's
because it is manifesting
now
before our very eyes.
Yeah.
Because we are seeing losers. I'm telling you. And I wonder
the cash?
I wonder if they are trying to institute a subculture of losers. Losers once you are on a perceived winning team.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? A subculture, because they are trying to show us here and to disregard the legitimacy of winning.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
I heard Mr. Pollard say something way back in January.
Right.
It's etched in my mind. He made a post and he was saying, we have taught our children that when you win, that there are rewards for winning and that kind of thing. The winners step up to the podium and all of that. But in this case, and of course, he was talking about the candidate that went up for Mace and lost to him, but still remain in the executive council.
Executive council
to this day,
holding the purse of one of the most well outfitted,
indeed,
financially,
indeed. And
divisions.
we know it is strategic because infrastructural works are critical to within elections.
Not to cut you, right? But right in your district, right, or at least what was previously your district, we see a project, and I am from that area as well, so I can speak about it. We saw a project that started last year, October. That is that drain running along the coast between Mount Irvin going back up the road.
Okay,
that started last year, October. Well, possibly November, right?
Right.
And it's still going on.
Yes.
An election has come and gone.
Yes.
January came and went.
Yes.
And it continued.
Yes.
It came to a dead stop, a halt.
I remember talking to one or two of the residents about that issue.
Right.
But I'm saying when these individuals want to regain power, they find
they
find every magic one that is upon the earth. I'm telling you.
Right.
You understand? But I think that I am one of those that really believe that God sits high and looks low. I make no bones about that.
Yes.
That He rules in the affairs of men and so on. And there is integrity in doing the thing honestly. We go out there, we campaign, we ain't working no obia. You understand? We just doing the things that you do in a campaign.
No need for that. No need for it either.
You understand? And I say that to say that we are legitimately campaigning.
Yes.
and people will vote for who they want to vote for when the election comes around.
And the thing about it is, when you listen to people, you in fact actually will become better at governing.
Yes.
You know why? Because sometimes the man or the woman that you would ignore and society would see as perhaps an outcast, those are some of the brightest minds that we ignore. Some of those people actually will give you certain ideas that are not only just practical and pragmatic, but it's sensible because it appeals to the man on the ground. When you stop listening to the ground, what happens? You lose. You lose.
And next to that as well is another aspect of the PDP's governance philosophy that impresses me as well, is that whole people before politics kind of thing. You know, where our activities are anchored in the well-being of the people.
Yes.
You understand? And so that really impresses me. That impresses me.
Right. And I'm seeing that we are ready to just go over to the Buku Mount Pleasant meeting. I believe they're in the Canaan area of the district. So we will hand over to the team down at Canaan. Over to you, to the team in Canaan.
Go ahead, Tash. Go ahead.
A pleasant good night to all of beautiful Tobago. We of the Progressive Democratic Patriots are very, very pleased to be assembled here tonight to deliver our candidate for the upcoming THA election on December 6th, Mr. Sonny Craig. And we are all gathered here in adherence to all of the health protocols as responsible Tobagonians. So we would like to begin by singing the national anthem. So if we can all stand at attention and proceed accordingly.
Everyone standing at attention. Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Thank you so kindly, and we know that our candidate is very versatile. We want to move quickly along with our program, and we want to ask our young candidate, Joel Nutsi Samson, to come and bless us with a word of prayer, after which he is going to bring his endorsement of our candidate for the area, Buku, Mount Pleasant, and Canaan, Sonny Craig. Joel Nutsi Samson. Let's put our hands together to welcome our sponsor.
Good night, Spartans. All eyes closed, all heads bowed. Merciful Father, we give you thanks for life. We give you thanks for health. We give you thanks for strength. We give you thanks for another day where we can come together to spread your word, to spread the message of the PDP. Almighty God, as we go into tonight's meeting, I ask that you may take full control. You may set forth a path before us. Guide us, bless us, and protect us. Help our speech to be a good sounding judgment, help us send a message to the people that they will understand so they will support the party. Continue to guide us and protect this evening's proceedings. In your name I pray. Amen. Good night, Spartans. Good night. My task here tonight is simple. Canaan was part of my constituency in the last THA election in January. And that part has been removed from my electoral district for the upcoming THA elections on December 6th. And it has now gone to Mr. Sonny Craig. I would say to the people of Boko, Mount Pleasant, and by extension Canaan, that sunny days are ahead. Brighter days are ahead. I am here to endorse Mr. Sonny Craig, a candidate that is honest, a man that is on the ground, a man for the people, by the people. When you think about loving, caring, and kind individual, it suits Sonny Craig. He's a hard worker. I would often pass him during the day in the blazing heat on the ground, going from door to door, reaching out to persons, asking for their support. You don't have another choice or a better choice than Mr. Sonny Craig. Someone who will be there for you in rainy days, stormy days, or whatever the conditions. You just call on him and he would be there. He is a representative that will represent you with honesty and integrity. So I am just here to endorse him and to let the people of Boko, Mount Pleasant and Canaan know that come December 6th, there is no better choice than Mr. Sonny Craig. So without further ado, I would like to bring to the platform none other than Sonny Craig. Sunny days are ahead. Thank you.
All right, Spartans. How are you feeling tonight? It's a beautiful night, and I want to say a special good evening to the leadership of the PDP organization. With the technology at our fingertips, I know we are being watched by our leader, Mr. Watson Solomon Duke. I know in our presence we have two of our deputy political leaders, Mr. Farley Chavez Augustine, and we also have Ms. Faith Israel. We also have, maybe listening online, Mrs. Alicia Roberts Patterson. We are blessed to have the chairman, Dr. Sean Ned, in our presence also. And these are the leaders that I've been able to recognize here tonight. Everybody, how are you feeling? Feeling good, feeling good. And I'm saying that the PDP is coming to you to bring a new level of representation to the entire island of Tobago. This seat that Notsi spoke about, that was once part of his electoral district, the village of Canaan, is now aligned with Boko. And on the road that we are standing is the borderline which takes you through the estate straight across to no man's land. So the electoral district is fairly large, but there is one thing missing in the electoral district, and that is decisive leadership. The electoral district at the moment suffers for good leadership. And leadership could be defined in so many ways. Right now, as a matter of fact, daily in the village of Boko Point, so much work is happening over the last few weeks that should have been happening over the last 20 years. And I'm of the view that somebody is afraid of sunny days ahead. Somebody is afraid of what the PDP is going to bring to the table. But I want to tell the people of this electoral district, there is nothing to be afraid of, because a PDP-led administration is going to lead with passion. We are going to lead with heart, and we are going to lead as though we understand, because we do understand the challenges that the people in this electoral district face from day to day. There is so much more to being a representative than paving roads and building box drains. Sometimes when you look at the existing culture of leadership in our existing Tobago House of Assembly, the modus operandi seems to suggest that you run the district for 4 years, and when you see and hear the sound of change, you get busy and you start to pave, you start to mix concrete. I'm seeing in some districts they are even washing the pavements. There is fear in the air because the PDP is here, and the message is clear. Ladies and gentlemen, we have nothing to fear except for fear itself. We are committed to leading this Tobago in a totally different direction, in a better direction. One of the depressing things I meet daily as I walk around is they are so disenfranchised, they are so fed up of promises. And I would say that this is the first time I'm sitting in this chair. This is the first time I'm approaching you. And they say, we have heard that over and over again. The challenge is this, that the Red Brigade just keeps changing personalities, but the system remains constant. Their campaigning strategy, their leadership strategy, everything remains constant. And they believe by changing personnel, we'll have a different result. But we need to reject the entire culture that comes with the brigade. We need to embrace a leadership system that is born of Tobago, by the people and for the people of Tobago. We understand best how to take Tobago to the next level. We understand our people. We need not put our support behind an organization that has to take instructions from Trinidad. Before they make the simplest decisions, they must consult their leaders in Trinidad. The leaders of the PDP are resident, they are accessible, they are available, and I want to tell the people listening to my voice this evening that the same way we were able to get into your galleries, through your gates, to speak to you, that level of accessibility is going to continue when we assume leadership of the Tobago House of Assembly from the 6th, or better said, from the 7th of December 2021. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at better days ahead. We are looking at a better structure of leadership. In this electoral district, some of the challenges I've noticed since I've been on the ground: one, young people, highly qualified, unable to fit into any productive employment in Tobago. A PDP-led administration is going to embark on developing a robust private sector, which would be able to absorb most of these professionals. Point to note, in developed countries, in first world countries, the state is not the major employer, but the private enterprise. And you know, I heard it being bantered about the PDP being a part of some retrenchment process. And I asked a lady yesterday, why would the leader of the PDP, leading us into the Tobago House of Assembly, a man from Yard, a man from Speyside, why would he embrace this responsibility and his first order of business is to take bread and butter out of the mouths of the people of Tobago. And I ask again, why would the leader of the party, who spends his life agonizing for PSA workers, who spends his life trying to get better salaries and better working conditions, why would he now embrace a challenge to work along with Farley and the rest of the team and try to influence us to have people lose their jobs? Madness, utter madness. And I'm surprised that people will stoop that low just to win elections. But I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, you need not be fearful. You need to feel comfort in knowing that we are all people from here. We are your servants. We have volunteered and placed ourselves in a position to be considered as the best group of people to lead Tobago. I'm hearing people sharing concerns about whether we're going to win 12-3 or 10-5 or what is the next equation, 8-7. We want you, through your support, to ensure that the PDP returns a verdict of 15-0 in this Tobago House of Elections. If they could win 12-0 back in 2013, why can't we win 15-0? After the 6-6 deadlock, where the people of Tobago subconsciously were saying, let us run this place together. Let us bring all 12 candidates together and lead from the front. This was a golden opportunity to address certain cultural trends in Tobago, because there are people who would want to hold on to one party or another party because they bring certain blessings to them individually. But we had a chance to lead Tobago in a different direction, all 12 of us. You know the end of the story, ladies and gentlemen. You know that they held on to their 6 seats, and because they were in the chair before, they never came out. And that whole over THA was under observation for the past 10 months. And I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, we need to send a strong message. Tobagonians are not selfish people. We are not that kind of partisan people. We are about family. We are about development. We are about working together to build the island. And as a consequence, they will understand what Tobago people could do. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going at 15-0 come December the 6th. What do you say? All right. So, in the electoral district of Boko, Manpas and Canaan, we have been listening to you as we walk the streets, and we have been putting together a mandate. The mandate is there, but it's not based on what we see for you, but what you would like to see for yourselves. And though we have all these ideas, when we converse with the people, we are being enlightened and we understanding what you're saying, and we are implementing these ideas. We are seeking to have them documented and put into a strategic plan for the development of Tobago. Somebody said, but how could you fund this and how could you fund that? As we go along, our deputy political leader, Brother Farley, is spending some time breaking it down to dollars and cents so you could see. Strange enough, if you do not listen to the presentations, if you don't put yourself in a position to hear the plans and projections, you will be misinformed if you listen to the wrong people. I recommend and highly recommend that you go to the source. We have our online platforms to which you could go and benefit from what the party has to offer to the people of Tobago. Make time and look at them. And now in this time of technology, once you put it online, it's there forever. I am seeing people putting up things about me that I didn't even know, and they are there forever. And I'm seeing people putting up things about them that they didn't know were being taped. And now those things are online forever. But there's a good side to this. The good stuff, the good news, the great plans and projections we have for the people of Tobago are online. And you could go to YouTube, Facebook, any of those platforms and access them and learn how we could take this place forward. Now, we have embarked on something new tonight. And when we leave this space, we'll be moving on to Buku. We'll be moving on to Mount Pleasant, sorry, and then we're moving on to Buku. We want to share this good news throughout this electoral district. There's a housing crisis in Tobago. So many of our young people are forced to resort to living in conditions that do not represent their ideals. We are going to talk to you. We are going to seek to acquire the necessary properties to develop and to give you a place that you could call home. The book said, blessed is the child that has his own. We are embarking on some mega projects, and let me don't use that word mega projects, let me take that back, on some community projects that members of the community, the young men, the young women who are unemployed could be a part of. In the Boko, Mount Pleasant, Canaan electoral district, we are suggesting young men, young women who are unemployed and untrained, we are going to take you by the hand if you are untrained and unemployed and ensure you develop the skills for your own survival. Sometimes in life deals you a hard blow. Sometimes you grow up in a home with parents that stick with you all the way. Other times you might not have that blessing. But it does not mean that if you live in this space, you cannot succeed. And so every single person who wants to succeed, we are going to work with you to ensure that you succeed. So, as we end this part of our caravan tonight, I want to encourage you to come out and vote on December the 6th. This is where the difference would really take root. Change comes as we as individuals embrace the opportunity to vote. In these elections, some people have the courage to come out here and present themselves. And this is what they could do for Tobago. Sometimes you might not be blessed with the gift of driving the truck, controlling the sound system. You might not have the energy to walk the streets every evening. But is one thing I'm confident that all able-bodied people could do is to come out in your numbers on December the 6th and walk into that booth. I am telling people on the trail, I want half hour of your life. They say, what do you mean? I said, I want 10 minutes from you to get from your home to the polling station. I want 10 minutes from you to vote. And I want 10 minutes from you to get back home. And that half hour will change your life. And so I'm encouraging you. You have voted over and over again. And although you have tried your best, say monkey pass. Oh, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, come on out, vote one more time, and let us see these 4 years ahead of us. Let us see a change come to Tobago. Tobago is presently broken. Some of us have good jobs, full cupboards, full refrigerators, and we think life is nice, but many of us are broken. And so we need to fix this. We need to fix our broken economy. We need to fix our broken agricultural sector. We need to fix our broken sports and youth development. We need to fix it. And so I call on all of us to fix this. It is not up to Fali and the team alone to fix this. It is up to each and every one of us, able-bodied enough to get to the polls. That would be your first major gesture in fixing this. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time. And we move from this place to Mount Pleasant. Keep it in mind, the only way we could fix this is with your help, with your support. Let me fix this. Let me fix this. Let us fix our Tobago. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Black and we grow. This is a black PDP, black and grow. Now we won't form against you. So higher than an eagle. 10,000 falling up yellow. 10,000.
Yes, sir.
Right.
yes. I think that is a fantastic start to the campaign caravan.
Yeah.
Campaign
I
caravan.
mean, as Mr. Craig summed it up, you know, is just half an hour of your life that this thing takes.
Indeed.
10 minutes to get there, 10 minutes to vote, and 10 minutes to get back home.
That was a very, very interesting. That was a sunny perspective.
I thoroughly enjoyed Mr. Craig's presentation,
Indeed,
and it was also good to see Mr. Joel Sampson, Nutsi, as he's fondly and affectionately called in the Crown Point Bonaccord, the now Crown Point Bonaccord district. You know, it's always nice to see neighboring candidates lending a hand, and support.
Of course.
You know, it's always nice to see that support system. Coming out of the campaign and coming and on the campaign train as well.
Indeed.
And you yourself, Pastor Baines, you know, it's very nice to see when you also grace some of those stages and some of those meetings with your presence.
Yeah, I mean, we are part of a whole. You know, we certainly complement each other. And the chain is as strong as the weakest link, you know. You know, and we all bring different things to the table. I am so honored, and it is like a delicious privilege to work with these other 14 candidates and to just be in the PDP family, as a matter of fact. Because
it really is a family indeed. Because being around the party and being around the candidates, their managers, etc., and all of the other personnel who are part of the big picture, right? Because, you know, we are all parts of a moving and a rolling system, a rolling machine. It's like your vehicle. If a nut or a bolt is out of place, that can affect the whole operation.
Of course. You could lose your life too.
Yeah, exactly. So that is how important each and every one of our Spartans are, and their families, and everybody that contributes to this push. And everybody in Tobago that has made their decision to support this party, to support this organization, and to support this great change, this wind of change that, as Farley used to, well, he keeps saying it still. The winds of change are blowing.
Yeah, man. And change is constant. Change is constant, you know. And I think that, you know, when you've been in the governance, in the halls of governance for 20 plus years, and you seem like you've been unchallenged in any significant way, you know.
You become complacent.
Yeah, not only that, but you become, there is a kind of annoying arrogance too.
Yes. And a self-righteous indignation.
There's a kind of insensitivity to certain segments of the population. You become your lord over God's heritage, as it were.
Yes.
You understand? Yes. And you know, in our prayer service this few days ago, the keynote speaker, Reverend Belinda, was making the point, and it was very political, as a matter of fact. Not what she was saying, but the whole scenario.
Right.
It had a political context, because this king, who was he's the chief politician in the land, You understand? And he was very successful
Yes.
and all that kind of thing. And then the story says that he just one day, because of how long he'd been in power and all that kind of thing, and he began to give all the accolades to himself and those kinds of stuff, you know, and the supreme God of the universe say, listen to me, there is only one God and it's not you. You understand? And you know, and had to let him understand that there's a sovereign God that rules. And I think human beings sometimes miss that. We figure that we operate by ourselves, we are Lord unto ourselves, and that
no man is an island.
Indeed. And
right? We all need each other. People need people.
Indeed.
Right? And you know what strikes me about this Progressive Democratic Patriots Party, its leadership, its team, there's a real sense of humility within the camp. That's one.
Yes.
And the second thing I notice is that everybody looks out for one another.
Indeed.
So in some cases, you know, people might say, hey, you know, we see so-and-so. Let us come and help you. Let us come and assist you. Let us come and lend hand. Right? So these are the things that I have observed from being around and, you know, understanding the philosophy of the party. I think one of the major things that you look for in governance going forward is the philosophy of the people in your organization. And I think the PDP has a very people-centered, future-driven, very innovative type of approach to governance. And I think the people have seen that.
Yes. And you know what's another important point too is that the principals of the organization are people that have been exposed to the fallout of bad governance.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Lived in the system.
Yes.
You know, I've been
the whole generation of us, you know,
of course. I've been mistreated by certain actions of officials and those kinds of things. So we have a sense, and we know that particular system is not working. It doesn't benefit the population holistically.
Yes.
It only benefits a few. So we have come to this place now and try to bring minds together, you know, who have had...
And great minds as well. Because when I look at the cast, when I look at the team, it is a cast of people who are not bankrupt for ideas. Now, I mean, again, I'm not trying to say anything negative about anybody. But when you measure up the PDP team with others who are vying for the same place or same things, it's chalk and cheese.
Indeed. I mean, I just put it this way. That, you know, there's a difference between an A-class race and a B-class race. You know?
Yeah,
there's a difference.
Category indeed.
If you have an A-class, I mean, I used to go to the racetrack at the Chauvin Turf Club and so on. Right. So, when you have a B-class race, and everybody competing, the person that win or is at the top think that they're the best thing since sliced bread. They think, but they're only the best thing because it is a B-class environment.
Those that challenge are not up to us.
Yes, it's a B-class race.
But no, Tobago is provided with
So you have
an alternative. That is
So because you can consider what the PDP is bringing to the table as a class type of governance philosophy, because it is different. It is different. Argue it or you no matter how you dice it or slice it, it is different. You understand? And so people are seeing the different. People cannot argue it away. The PDP organization has just been so innovative and stuff in some of the things that we bring to the table.
And when you look at the candidates as well, you look at some of their achievements, you look at some of the things they have done on a community-based level, and you look at some of the things that are, you know, that they would have done throughout their time, even before entering politics. And you can say safely that these are people who have Tobago's best interests at heart.
Indeed.
Right? So it's you know, I don't think service, you see service, and as our deputy political leader and chief secretary candidate, Fali Chavez Augustine, always says, we are a coalition of the competent and the willing.
Indeed.
And that is a powerful phrase that he coined.
Indeed.
Powerful.
Indeed.
You don't find that just so or by guess. You know?
Yes.
So
yeah, we have to continue pushing ahead. Regardless, and the challenges continue to mount, but we keep at it. We keep at it. I wanted to, as I was talking about the innovation,
right.
I look back. All of us look back at the nomination day.
Yeah.
The attire of the PDP candidates and so on, and the commentary thereafter. You know, you must have people who will, no matter what you wear,
right?
There's somebody go say it and look good on you.
Right, right. You cannot please everybody.
Right.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yes.
You can't please everybody.
Yeah, for whatever reason. You know, and
but arguably,
yes.
Arguably, I think the uniformity and the organization and the way that the candidate strutted in, it showed a certain level of confidence.
Yeah, but I even, well, before we even go, I really wanted to give a shout out and to say, because the political, many don't know, people ask me who designed the clothes and all that.
That's the first
and
question.
I told them the clothes were designed by the political leader, Mr. Watson Duke.
Feel the power, Fali in your area. Feel the power, the Tobago fighter. Feel the power, Fali in your area. Feel the power, the Tobago fighter. Boom, election day we coming down. PDP we coming strong. We come to take over the tongue. And Fali sure to win this one. Every creed and every race. Time to find an equal place. Them other parties set away. Look how them destroy the place. Digest. PDP party, them is the best. Digest. When Fali work, he don't rest. Uptown, downtown, them want to rest. The present government had the place in a mess. Election come out, do what is best. Tobago, you don't know you're blessed. Fali on the road to success. No other party can contest. Yes, PDP is the best. Digest. PDP party, them is the best. Digest. When Fali work, he don't rest. Feel the power, PDP.
Almighty God, we want to thank you for your love and your grace. We want to thank you for all that you have done for us. We pray, Almighty God, that you will protect us today. We pray that your Holy Spirit will lead us today. We pray for no incidents, no incidentalities at all. We pray that we will be able to file swiftly, smoothly, quickly, and be on our way. And that by the time we get to lunchtime, all 15 of our candidates will be duly nominated. We thank you for what you have done for us so far. And today begins the real campaign. But we need you to lead us. This we pray in the most holy and blessed name. Amen.
Election start left Fali pass. To build back Tobago is the task. Tobago go never be the same after Fali beat them bad. Campaigning hard with me mass. Welcome back to election. Jet zest. Vote for Fali, now you get low. Zest. Vote for Fali, now get low. Zest. Vote for Fali, now you 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 get low. Zest. No way they can beat we again. PDP, this year we go win. Make sure and go stamp your name. When last you feeling need to come campaign hard. This is election. Party way up. Make sure and
Yes, sir.
Right, and we're back.
Yes, yes.
You
yes,
see, the uniformity as we were speaking about, and those outfits, I think it really, really appealed to people.
Yes.
You saw a team.
Yes.
You saw a unit together. And that is something that I don't think we have seen for quite some time in the political arena and in the Tobago space on a leadership level.
Yeah, and of course it speaks to the staying true to form, you know, in terms of the innovation of the organization as well. And I was saying before we went to the footage there that persons messaged me and asked who's the designer. They want me to give them the number for the designer, and I told them that the political leader, Mr. Watson Solomon Duke, is the man who designed the clothes. You understand?
A man of many talents.
Indeed.
I
even
had no idea Mr. Duke was...
I'm telling you, I even send him a little thing and say, well, in case this PSA thing and work out, you have a future in designing.
Well, you see, look at that. And you know what? That, again, that comes back to the fact that this is a very holistic team. And I am certain there are very, very good skills that reside within the team that have not been tapped into just yet. And governance is really and truly a good forum for having those ideas reach the people and meet the people. And guess what? They can now take their expertise and start training people.
Indeed.
Through the governance structure.
Yes, and I think the philosophy to be all encompassing and all embracing.
Yes.
Because no one group of people have all the ideas. I mean, that's just not possible. And I think that we see I said it before more than once, that the PDP represents a kind of umbrella under which all of us can find shade and so on. And I mean by that also shade as a place to flesh out different ideas and to bring
and
to
a safe haven. There's a certain amount, well, at least using the example of an umbrella. An umbrella provides shelter in a time of storm. This is a stormy time in our country and in our world's history.
That is the understatement of the whole year.
It is a stormy sort of time that we live in.
Indeed.
And the PDP is saying to the population of Tobago, and by extension the national public, right, that we are providing a safe haven for the people.
Of course.
Right? A safe haven for people where they are recognized, where they are represented, where they are a part, they feel as though they can be part of something and part of growing something.
Yes.
You know, in doing agriculture, particularly where children are concerned and things like that, and you teach children about the value of planting their food, sowing a seed, right? Making little garden and things like that. And one of the things that the PDP has highlighted in the mandate since January and going forward, as well as food security and food sovereignty. For Tobago, we should not have to rely on the boat coming up from Trinidad or things coming in from imported sources to feed ourselves. The island should be sufficient enough, self-sufficient enough to feed ourselves.
Right.
And that comes back to the type of messaging and the type of communication that we are putting out there into the public space. We want for us to become self-sufficient and reach to a place where we can feed ourselves and sustain ourselves.
Indeed. And that's a significant point that you're making, and I dare say that part of the reason why it is in the best interest of some people that Tobago remain dependent, some merchants, you understand, because I was having a conversation with an official from the Tobago Chamber,
right,
and just kind of getting a sense of what is the Tobago spend on average.
Right. On importation. Right.
You know, it's billions. You understand? And I mean, he gave me the information, Because I just say, let me get a sense so we can understand and appreciate why there are some minds, some merchants, some people in the Trinidad space who want the thing to remain.
Right.
I had a conversation with Dr. Vanas James, who indicated to me in 1997 or 98 thereabout.
Right.
It was under the Pandey regime at the time.
In Central Government.
Yes.
Right.
And there was a conversation about Tobago having an international port and that kind of thing. And he testified that because he was asked to work on the thing, and when the presentation was made to the parliament that there were merchants in Trinidad that were lobbying the government to not allow that to happen.
Lobbying against it?
Yes, because they were saying it was competing with the Port of Spain and those kind of things. So the thinking was that the commerce and all this centralized, it must happen in Port of Spain. And Tobago has always been treated that way.
That is unfair because it comes back to the ward type of dependency syndrome that Tobago has always fell victim to. And that is wrong. And one would think that the goodly Prime Minister, being a son of the soil, would have thought differently, would have done differently, and would have made things work in a different type of way. But that is not the case.
Yeah,
very disappointing.
Part of the reason why a lot of people, a lot of PNM people want this governance as it is to remain is because they have commercial investment in the Tobago as it is run by this present group of people.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
In order to continue
a lot of the trepidation that you see taking place is because it's dollars and cents issues for some people.
And you know what? Dollars and cents translates to bread and butter. So when it is the man on the ground is focusing on where is his next bread coming from, where is his next meal coming from, they're thinking about unfairly monopolizing an island. And
indeed, there are persons who have invested in the stagnation of Tobago. I mean, they invest in the stagnation.
As a quote word writing now.
The state of Tobago's, Tobago really does not have a private sector, really.
It's dead.
Yeah.
It's dead. They have destroyed it.
And that was done, it was a calculative thing that was done.
And deliberate.
Yes. Yes. To starve it off. And you see, I believe, from my own grassroots perspective, that was designed to hog power, stay in power.
Right.
Because while they were busy destroying the private sector, you buffonate the public sector.
Right, and you create a vote bank.
Yes, so you absorb all the workers.
As you brought up Dr. Vanas James. And he uses that terminology very regularly. Last time I spoke to him, he was saying they want Tobago to be a vote bank.
Yeah, but I'm saying yes, and that's what. So you control, or you hire 60 upwards, close to 70% of the workforce.
Right.
And then you also have in that mix, contract work. A significant amount of the workers are contract workers. Contract really, if you are you can use that to control people.
Yeah.
Because you could always threaten them by telling them we ain't going to renew your contract.
And that is a form, Pastor Baines, of psychological warfare.
Yes, but I'm telling you.
Tobago has fallen prey to psychological warfare. And that is unfair. That is unfair. That is a sham. It's unsustainable.
And here the next thing too. Whatever remains of the private sector, the remnant that remains, right? The remnant that remains. The THA becomes their largest customer.
Yes. It's like a feeding trough.
Yeah, the largest customer. So then, what it does for you now is that you are put in a position that you cannot exercise any independence. You can't say you go align with the PDP,
right?
And that kind of. If you align with the PNM, fine, everybody go bow down to you. But once you align with a any group that is non-paying them, they will bust your throat.
Yeah.
And people know that
And
once
this place is too small
yes,
for that.
but once it
How
comes
could
to your
you do
livelihood,
that?
people will toe the line.
Right.
So this is what they have done to Tobago over the past 2 decades. What they have done is subjugated the place. You understand? They have done that, and they have changed people up mentally. This is why you meeting young people, bright people, have no interest in
and
governance.
They want to run out of here quickly.
Have no interest in no voting. Have no interest. They have the disillusion about everything. They're suspicious about everybody.
And the ones that have the means want to fly out.
Sure.
Or want to go to Trinidad or go elsewhere. I mean, Trinidad is none the better.
Yeah, man.
No better. I mean, it. You know,
Man,
certain
listen,
things may be more available. There's no better, right?
The PNM regime has put Tobago in stasis for the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
You understand? Tobago has lost its momentum. There's no question about that. You understand? And that is done because there are chosen few who benefit from Tobago being. Listen, shockwaves are going through a lot of the minds of a lot of people with all that we're doing here as a PDP. You know, shockwaves are going through the hearts and souls of a lot of them who have been in control, who have had Tobago in a kind of vice. You understand? Who have been sucking the resources out of Tobago. You understand? Shockwaves going through. Now, that's why you're seeing some of the things that you're seeing. Because the PDP really, part of our responsibility is not just to assume governance, but while we're doing that, we have to also, yes, and we have to restore integrity to representation as well, because people have little or no trust for representatives.
Agreed. And they're so disenchanted, disenfranchised, whatever you want to call it.
Indeed.
They have reached to that point where, many of my colleagues, or a lot of people I know, who are young people as well, boy, it make no sense. Why voting for? What them could do for me? I still have to get up and get. I still have to get up and pay taxes. And I am not seeing return on my investment. The taxes are, when we
frustrating.
Pay taxes,
it's frustrating.
when we pay for services, when we render unto Caesar what is for Caesar, as the Bible puts it. Right? We expect that in return, the least you can do is listen to us. Listen. And when you stop listening to the people, that is a dangerous road you're going down.
But when you subjugate people, I saw a quote recently. It says, "The chains don't bother a man that is not moving." You understand?
Right.
You know, and it's true. It's true. It's as you really start moving, then you realize you are chains and whatever, and that kind of.
Because you're attempting to go from point A to point B.
So
but if you're remaining stationary, you're remaining in one position, then
chains not bothering you. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. Man, in more recent times, I've seen some quotes. I'm not the author of them. I've seen, but I pay attention.
But very profound.
Of course.
And very applicable.
Yes.
To this election.
Yes.
And the way things have gone in Tobago over the past 20 years.
Indeed.
You know,
Indeed.
As a child, when I was in Charlottesville, my father and I were there, in Charlottesville in the late 90s, going into the early 2000s. And I can safely say not much has changed, And that is a space that has so much potential.
Indeed.
That is the nearest point to some of the other islands, Grenada in particular. Right? I cannot understand for the life of me how it is the northeast of Tobago and the country has been neglected to that point. Whereas only when Mr. Duke starts talking, starts making noise, starts saying things, starts talking about the nonsense that has transpired for representation.
Man, listen.
The bill, what is the bill? Fire station.
Yeah, man,
hospital.
The bill, I mean, that's the infrastructure capital of Tobago, man. But you see, to maintain power in Tobago, you cannot have people that have independent thought and independent wealth. You understand? You can't nurture that.
Right, yeah.
Because the minute you nurture that, there are people that don't agree with you, and they will tell you they don't agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. Because
you understand? And a man could decide that he go fly a PDP flag in the yard because he know that he not eating rice by the THA, and the road to heaven don't pass through the THA yard.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So once you have that independence, but the other side of that is an independent population keeps officials sharp as well.
Yeah.
You cannot be lackadaisical, and you cannot be.
That makes for a better democratic
process. Of course, because you know that these
good governance.
Of course, you know that these people will tell you, listen, we're not supporting that, and so on. So you will have to come up to scratch.
Yes, correct.
You understand?
Yeah.
So what has been happening is that you have this system. You demoralize the private sector. You devastate people that have independent thought. Anybody that don't agree with you, you destroy them. You understand? So that you could have this space, you know, that you run, that you are the master over these people, and they are afraid of you, because if you say anything, you're going to take away their bread and butter. And men will toe the line when it comes to the bread and butter. They have their children and their family to see about. They will do that. Yeah. You understand? So I have the reason, one of the real reasons, people talk all kind of thing about why you're following Duke and all them. One of the, I see Mr. Duke represents a kind of protest that Tobago needs.
Yes.
You understand? Needed. He represents a protest, a kind of revolution, and I use the word loosely.
No,
you
it
understand?
Is a revolution.
That Tobago needs.
It's not just a revolution by I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like the next, and speaking about the nonsense that has transpired in the governance structure. It's not just a revolution on that level. Right, but it's a philosophical revolution.
Indeed.
A philosophical revolution that has to happen in order for people to demand better. Farley always says it. Yes. We can do better.
Yeah, man.
We can do better.
Yeah.
And there's nothing stopping us from doing better, Pastor Baines.
Yeah, man. You see, who has the eyes to see will see it. I mean, you know, and I am very clear. That nobody could deny. Well, I shouldn't say nobody, but those of us that have a more acute sense of what is taking place, that Mr. Watson Solomon Duke has been chosen for a time like this.
Yeah.
You understand? To lead, you know, and to bring, you know, to be the
even in the midst of the naysayers.
Yes, the franchise holder of the thing. And you know, the rest of us have come in to help the thing and to build the thing and so on. You understand? It is bigger than him. No, it represents an entire organization. But we can't get away from the fact, the role that the man plays in the thing. You understand? Because Tobago needs this now. There are some people that have gained independence and bravery because of the spirit of Watson Duke, you know, man. You understand? When I say spirit, you understand what I mean, right? This desire and this kind of protest to say this is not right, and I'm putting everything on the line so that we could get change in this thing.
All right, so we are going to go back over to our team. They are actually in the Mount Pleasant area now, so we'll go over to our team in Mount Pleasant.
Future that is absolutely transformed with your assistance. We want to remind everyone gathered here, all of our responsible citizens of Tobago, all of our Spartans, to maintain the social distancing that is required by the health protocols, to stand our 6 feet apart from each other, and to maintain the proper wear to cover your nose and your chin all of the time, and we are so without further ado, we have 2 speakers tonight, and we want to introduce to you our first speaker, the gentleman with the responsibility for taking Lowlands for the People's Democratic Patriots and Tobago, Mr. Wayne Wasp Clark. Let's put our hands together and welcome Wayne.
Lieutenant night. Good night.
Good night.
Come on, I ain't hearing all you.
Good night. Good night.
Bethany, good night.
Yes!
First, I want to recognize, even in his absence, our political leader, Brother Watson Solomon Duke. I want to recognize Deputy Political Leader, Sister Faith B. Israel. Deputy Political Leader, Alicia Roberts Patterson. Deputy Political Leader, Fali Chavez Augustine. And by no means, last but not least, our candidate for this area, Bokum Pleasant, who's going to take this one home. This is going to be the first seat that's going to be declared on December 6th. We're going to recognize Brother Sonny Craig. Also want to recognize the chairman of the party and the vice chairman, Sean Ned and Andre Cowan. You notice I'm moving here because I'm talking inside him. I'd like to be outside. Yeah. But brothers and sisters, I just want to tell you tonight that you have a good candidate in this area. You have the best candidate on show. You have Brother Sonny Craig. Just think about it when the day is that hot and they say with Sonny in town, there'll be brighter days ahead. Sonny gonna take care of Bokum Pleasant like never before. Sonny gonna do a good job. Sonny is a good man. Sonny is an honest man. And I could tell you, I am fully behind Sonny. I endorse Sonny Craig 100%. When you go out on December 6th, vote for Sonny Craig. Vote for the PDP. Vote to change Tobago. This is the only party that put people before politics. Lately, every time the election bell rings, there are a group of people you never know they could move, but they get real quick when the election bell rings. They're paving the road, but this time they bust on the average because all the food cards seem to expire. They hold them back too long. Everybody complaining now about expired food card. We gotta fix Tobago and we gotta fix it now. We gotta do this job very quick. And the turnaround starts on December 6th. On the 6th of December, leading up to the 6th of December, you're gonna see us knocking on every door. Coming to your homes. Let us see, we bring good news. We are the bearer of good news. We are telling you that in a few days, Tobago will change and change forever. With the PDP taking charge of the THA, there are going to be no more questions that you don't have answers for. You will not have a Secretary for Finance and can't tell you where your money gone. Because under Brother Fali Chavez Augustine, you're going to account for every dollar that was spent, and I assure you that with Brother Sonny Craig in the district, you're going to get value for money. The PDP is about transforming Tobago. The PDP is about taking Tobago to the next level. There's no reason why Tobago should be in the position it's in when all that amount of money that has been coming to Tobago, the other side is running around brandishing a torch saying where we're going to get the money from. I could tell you, I could start by telling you tonight, with our executive council that not thieving, you suddenly get more money at your disposal. With our executive council, who not only catering for friends and family, but we cater for all Tobagonians. And when you have good accountability, you have more money. When you have more money, you have more development. When you have more development, you have a better Tobago. All of us are striving for a better Tobago, brothers and sisters. The PDP is the only party on show in this election that's serious about Tobago business. The PDP has a team that went through a very, very rigorous screening process. And when I go up there the days when they started questioning me, you ever did air condition and sweat? But good thing I had the answers waiting. These people really drill you to make sure that each and every candidate selected, they were the real deal. And I could tell you, Brother Sonny Craig is the real deal when we come out there and this. So, in wrapping up, I'm not going to be long tonight because it's a long campaign and finally ask everybody to get in. And as long as the campaign is a long and hard one, we're going to stay till the end. We're not pulling out. We are there for the long haul. So I want to tell you, vote for Brother Sonny Craig. In neighboring Switzerland, you have Terence Dames. In Canaan, you have Joel Nazi Sampson. In Lambo Lowlands, well, you know how to leave yourself for that. I want to tell you that the PDP is here to stay. The PDP is here to govern Tobago the right way. Vote for Sonny Craig again as I go. I want to tell you that just remember, honesty, proper accountability, Tobago will automatically seem to have more money. I thank you. This is a
Ladies and gentlemen, and now we want to introduce our candidates, our beloved candidates, our progressive candidates, our committed and versatile candidate, somebody who you have to help to place in that Tobago House of Assembly. Sonny Craig, I want you all to put your hands together and welcome Sonny Craig to the podium so that we can listen to how he intends to transform Mount Pleasant, Boko, and Canaan. Sonny Craig.
Good night, Spartans! Woo! What a pleasure to be out here tonight. First of all, let me practice the correct protocol and welcome our deputy political leaders present. Of course, our political leader, Mr. Watson Solomon Duke, is looking on. And of course, we have Israel and Alisa Roberts Patterson. And we are blessed to have tonight also our chairman, Dr. Sean Ned, and also his assistant, Mr. Cowan. Put your hands together for them, please. Put your hands together. Organizations like these function best when they are well coordinated from the top. But the PDP will be dealing with the issues of Tobago, not from the top, but from the bottom up. This party, I'm learning and I'm experiencing since I've been a part of this party, really puts people before politics. And the people of Bukuman, Pleasant, Canaan are no less to be considered. As a matter of fact, some of you in this community have seen me around the area, and I'm having conversations with some of you, and I really enjoy the report. I enjoy the suggestions that are coming forward, and I must give you the assurance that we will not be developing any community without your interjection, without your input, so that when we build together. We build together. Other political parties sometimes like to do stuff and run around after and say, I give you that and I build that and he give me that, although you pay for it. You pay for it monthly. You get a house in Adventure. You make the down payments and you're paying monthly for your house. Yet people go around saying that I build house for them and I build house for them. No, no, no. Those houses were built with everybody's tax dollars. They were built with everybody's tax dollars. So no one person could take credit for the development. And in a PDP-led THA, we are going to ensure that the community is a part of everything we do. In this area, we have made our observations, we have listened to you, and some of the things we plan to do include, we want to do something really special about housing in this electoral district. This electoral district is blessed and surrounded by many estates. Some will have to do negotiation before we could even put a foot there. Some of them are owned by the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And where we have the sway, we intend to do what is necessary to assist and to help people in this electoral district get off the ground and build their families and build a better society. The youth need not worry. One of the ideas that came to us and we intend to explore is to seek to have the unemployed, the underemployed, those of us who do not have a trade but we would like to learn a trade. Let me give you a quick experience. I wish I had pictures of some of the work I did. I learned to be a mason as a big man. Are you with me? I learned to lay brick or blocks as a big man. I still need some work in the tiling area, not too good. But laying blocks are comfortable. And what I'm saying is, once you have a desire, regardless of your age, regardless of your stage, if you want to grow and develop in life, the PDP stands ready to assist you. The PDP stands ready to work with you and to develop you into the person that you want to be. I've seen projects where people go on a project as a laborer and leave with a skill. Some of the plans we have for the electoral district would involve some construction, and as our leaders have said over and over again, the people in the electoral district will be the first to be considered for any development plans to take place. I'm seeing play parks being built in different villages in Tobago, pretty well painted, and all the contractors, they're rolling from I don't know where, put down infrastructure, collect the check, and they disappear. We never see them around anymore. Not under a PDP administration. If we want a play park in Bethany, we must find our welders in Bethany. Our painters must come from Bethany. All our workers must first come from Bethany. And if we can't find them here, we have Suso lands, we have Lambo lowlands, we have so many different areas to choose from. Listen, Tobago people, it's been too long. It's been too long that we are seeing things happening on this island and we do not have a say. When I was in business, I remember the complex being built at Bucco Point. And I would see trucks and trucks of goods just coming off the boat and heading to Bucco Point. And I am making nothing. And this should not be. As we develop, we buy local. We ensure the local people benefit from every project. Yeah? I came in here tonight, I didn't have lunch. That's the kind of days we're having now. And I saw somebody down there selling food. Should I leave this area and go somewhere else to buy from some big brand fish and chips? No, let's support our own people in our own communities. And I've noticed that in Bukum and Pleasant, Canaan, I have tasted a brand of fish and chips that has world class, it's world class. But because it's small and it's in a little pocket, Sometimes people like big brands and they like to dress up and go out and dine. Let's develop our businesses to the point. Let's support our businesses so that as they grow and they glow, we could all say we were part of that. So I'm encouraging us, buy local, support our local businesses. Yeah? Tonight is the first in a chain of meetings of this nature. Tonight we come through the Buku, Monpes and Canaan electoral district. Tomorrow night will be in another area. So we're moving from here to Buku. But I'm suffering a grave disadvantage. And that disadvantage is that the state of emergency ends at midnight. But that don't mean we could be out here between 10 and 12. It means that we have to cut this meeting a bit short so we could give Buku a little taste of our plans for the electoral district. So I thank you. I thank you so much for your listening here tonight. Somebody called me and they said, Bethany needs to be reminded that we check for you, we love you, and we want to assist you in getting to where you should be in life. So I make that commitment tonight. I'm not making any promise. Too many politicians making promises. We make a commitment to be with you, to work with you. On December the 6th, come out in your numbers, vote for the PDP, vote for the PDP. Tobago is broken. Let me fix this. Let me fix this. Let me fix Tobago. Vote for the PDP. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, as we press forward. Thank you very much.
Welcome back, viewers.
This that's looking real good. I don't know why I didn't go and get a cup of coffee myself. You know.
I see them, they do that on TV. This is what they do on TV, my brother.
Of course.
This is TV. So this has been the second installation of the campaign caravan. And just for the benefit of our viewers, because this is the first one, is that what we are doing each night in each district is to have at least 3 spot meetings. And of course, the purpose for that, because we have to pay attention to the COVID protocols and all that good stuff, you know. And what we are attempting to do is to go live at each location. And we know that sometimes the audio is going and coming, and that is part of the challenge at sometimes dealing with this kind of situation. And of course, in between each session, I'm here with Mr. Television himself, Mr. Makoon, who is here with it. He has a television face. You understand?
Well, and after a long, hard day of work, and I have to come straight to the studio.
Yes, people are seeing my feet look so shine on the television.
You have good justification.
Yes.
You were out on the field.
Yes. And it's a very rewarding exercise. And we have to keep the campaign going regardless of the challenges.
Yes.
And this speaks to the innovation that we are talking about the PDP.
Of course.
We find a way to get the message out and to do what we need to do.
Of course. We make do with what we have.
Indeed.
And we take that and we create something that is innovative and that people can relate to.
Yes.
Something relatable.
Yes.
You understand? So I think this idea that we've come up with to go to each and every spot meeting in a district,
yes,
it allows people to see how the ground looks.
Indeed.
And how the ground is responding. And as Brother Craig said, the type of governance structure that the PDP wishes to institute and introduced into the Tobago space is very foreign to some people. It's very foreign because they have not experienced that type of community-based, grassroots, bottom-up type of governance.
Indeed. And I mean, the thing about it is that while campaigns are aggressive and there's a lot of animosity and stuff, but the PDP's idea is to provide governance for everybody in Tobago. And I think we have to say that.
Yeah.
While canvassing today, there's a gentleman that was very dismissive of my good evening and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then he said to me, there is he said your leader said something that frightened me. I said, well, what it is? That it have too much teachers and too much CPEP workers and they have to fire them. I said, well, where you hear the man say that? You understand? And it's amazing how people, will if people don't, let us assume that somebody don't like you, Makun. If they don't like you. Right? But they have to find something to justify the not liking your nest.
They will come up with anything.
Indeed. So anything you say.
Anything.
So you will say something and they will truncate what you say, take out a part of what you say to justify what they have against you. And that is unfortunately how human beings are.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because in no way, in none of the narratives, the leaders have been saying that they're going to put anybody on the bread line.
I never heard that.
None of us have heard that.
I have never heard that.
But that has been peddled. That has been peddled by the other side.
Right, and that is wrong.
Yeah,
that is propaganda. It is spreading misinformation.
Indeed.
And I am saying.
Indeed. And them know it very well. Eh? They know that very well.
Like a chorus.
Yes, because they have that in their DNA. They have that. And you see, people always judge people by their own standards.
Yes.
You understand? That is what they have done to Tobagonians. You understand? They have done that to Tobagonians more than once.
You know, I was chatting with a Trinidadian colleague of mine. Some time ago, I had gone down to Trinidad. And there's a lady that lives not far from some other colleagues of mine. And she was saying, because she came over to the home of my friend. And she was saying, one thing I noticed about Tobago has a nurturing type of culture. And it's very matriarchal.
Yes.
In nature, you would find that there is a woman in the community who would scold children for shirking their responsibilities, scold children for not doing as they're told. What it is you're doing there, go inside. You're misbehaving, whatever, right? And it's a very, that matriarchal approach that has been part and parcel of Tobago's culture makes Tobago a very nurturing place. It is nurturing by nature.
Indeed.
I think based on the type of governance that we have experienced for the past 20 years, they have taken and eroded that nurturing process. They have eroded it to the point where Tobago is now hardly recognizable in some.
Indeed, that is what I meant. Space. That is what I meant when I said Tobago is in stasis. It's a kind of comatose kind of. You understand?
So we need to. The PDP getting in will restore that
momentum, drive, enthusiasm, excitement. We want to go somewhere. We want to accomplish stuff. I have been very honored with the opportunity to travel to most of the islands. In the region, especially the English-speaking islands and so on. And I notice it that each island has something unique to them.
And that they're very proud of.
Indeed. We were talking earlier about when you were talking about Charlottesville, for instance. And that speaks to the type of tourism product that exists, if any, in Tobago. And we know that countless thousands, perhaps millions have been spent on travel tours to Europe and taking a whole team and all that kind of stuff. And you look for the value for money. You look for and that is one thing that bugs me, is that we don't get value for money in this place that we call Tobago. We just don't seem to get value for money.
Are you getting value on your investment?
Indeed.
Are you getting good returns on your investment?
Indeed.
And that is a big question. We were talking a few minutes earlier about Dominica, and we were speaking about the similarities between Dominica and Tobago. The only thing Dominica has that Tobago does not have is hot springs.
Yes.
So I'm saying that in due course.
And mountain chicken, eh?
Right, and mountain chicken, which is a frog, by the way. For those of us that are not aware,
that is a good
chicken.
Mountain
chicken
it's
is
important to explain
a frog that is indigenous
yes,
to the highlands
yes.
of Dominica.
Yeah, and I have eaten it already.
Well, I'm not that brave. I'm adventurous.
No, but seriously, let's segue a little bit. So,
right.
But I have had it actually, and it actually tastes like chicken.
Right.
Seriously, I've had it fried dry, man.
Right.
Between 2 sliced bread. You must try it, Makun. You have to, you can, these are exciting times. Yeah, these are exciting times.
Pastor Baines is encouraging me to indulge in some
man, I mean,
culinary adventure.
Yes, you don't put that on your bucket list. You must eat mountain chicken, man, yes.
As our deputy political leader himself is a cook. He's a chef.
Yes.
Yeah, Sweetan, You ever taste food from Farley? Well, yes.
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, yeah.
Nah, you're missing out.
We go up by him several times and that man never offer we no food.
Nah,
several
man.
I'm telling you.
No, but Farley is an excellent cook, right? And
no, well, I can't say nothing about that now because I'm just saying, and just in case you're looking at this Mr. Deputy Political Leader, as Mr. Makun braised it, I have come to your home on several occasions. It is something with the people from the East, because Dr. Faith, as we hear, Dr. Faith has a bakery in front of her house, and one would think when she's coming to the West that she will bring a little sweet bread, bring a little corn soul, nothing.
Why all the West people always want something so...
No, because
when all they going up in East, always carry anything?
No, but when you all come down here with a treat, all good. That's what we... All right,
nah,
moving along.
Moving along. But yes, coming back to the point...
I heard that he's a good chef, yes.
Yeah. I think there are so many opportunities that exist in the Tobago space for output, for export, right? And these are the things that we should be tapping in. And again, I think it was the night before I was on the discussion on High Five, and we were talking about the fact that there's nothing barring an assemblyman or perhaps the chief secretary for reaching out to the Tourism Board of Dominica or St. Lucia and just having a conversation.
Yeah, but
what do you all do for this festival?
Indeed.
Tell me what your business model is, what your ideas.
Good.
And we can now then incorporate those ideas into the way we do things in Tobago, because guess what? They have had a tried and tested model of tourism that is balanced. And I am saying Tobago is so blessed that we can have one of the most balanced. Right? I was having a conversation with Tashia today, Miss Burris, Tashia Grace Burris. And we were talking about the fact that Tobago can actually become a tourism hub in the sense that it becomes a melting pot, right? Not just for culture and tourism, but in the culinary arts, in health and wellness. And we can become a melting pot. Like Grenada, for example. Farley said on, Deputy Political Leader Farley Augustine said on the platform on several occasions, and I remember at one of the workshop meetings him outlining very clearly that many of the arrivals that Grenada experiences because of the university.
Sure, and that's true. Same thing with Dominica too.
Exactly.
I have been to Portsmouth on several occasions. Before when the university was up and running.
Right.
So I have an understanding of what a university tongue is.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
I've been to the one in Grenada in the area. You understand? And what it does for the island, for that matter.
Right.
But more importantly for the community. And then I've been back when the university moved to Barbados, its operation to Barbados, and see, I mean, the amount of buildings, the amount of apartment, and then of course
accommodation.
Not only that, remember they were hit with the hurricane as well.
Right.
So you had all those things happening. But I think back to the conversation we're having about Tobago State.
Right.
That subvention that we get every year has been, the way it has been managed is like a Achilles heel.
Mismanaged?
Yes, that's a better word. Achilles heel. Because they have never sat down and carved out a proper tourism product.
Right. What are we selling?
Well, yeah,
what
apparently.
Are we selling?
And
What is our product?
I wonder if the thinking
Tobago
is.
Beyond?
But I wonder if the thinking is that because it is not the mainstay of our livelihood.
Yeah.
In other words, so you have this money coming in every year, so you're a little bit delinquent in developing
service.
Yes,
service.
But some of these other islands do not have a subvention. Therefore,
they don't have.
Yes, they have to find a way. They have to find a way.
Money.
I go to St. Thomas very often.
Right.
And I've gone to St. Thomas. They have some fascinating beaches there. They have a very nice golf course.
That's in the BVI?
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah,
right.
No, that's the US Virgin Islands.
Virgin Islands, right.
They have a very beautiful golf course as well. But the only unique attraction that I saw on the island, right, is that there is a restaurant on top a little, what we may call a mountain in the Caribbean. Right. And there's a cable car that takes you up to the restaurant and comes, and that kind of thing. A cable car. But watch this. Watch this. Watch this now. I was in St. Thomas. The guy I was staying with works with the federal government.
Right.
He oversees the administration of the island and so on, and is responsible for correlating all the numbers and so on of the tourism
statistics and etc.
There were about 13 cruise ships in the harbor.
Right.
13 cruise ships in the harbor. He said to me there were 23,000 tourists in that place on that day. In one day. And all
that is more or less a quarter, or just over a quarter, or rather just over a third of the population of Tobago. Could you imagine that to everybody who's looking, to everybody who's tuned into this broadcast? You can imagine having a quarter of the population of the island of Tobago in Tobago.
I'm telling you, and we're saying that to say that these people make a concerted effort to develop their tourism product because they don't have any choice.
Exactly.
You understand? And I think that the delinquency that we have seen in this place called Tobago, this lethargic approach, it is because you have this subvention and you spend most of it on recurrent expenditure, and you continue to buffonate the workforce.
No real money left over for development.
You understand?
And I think it all, the opposite side has been peddling this narrative that, it is important to have us in the central government and important to have us in the Tobago House. But with the exception of when Kamla Prasad Bisesa was there for that 5-year period with the UNC, etc. With the exception of that period, the PNM was in central government and in the THA for what, 20 years, 21 years? Well, this year would be 21 years. So that is not even an argument. That is such an infantile approach to
there's been arguing. Been no real drive to they've spent a lot of money.
Right.
But again, there's no value for the kind of money. I saw some numbers today, and I will be developing that as we go on in the campaign.
Right.
Under the theme from zipline to airline. It's coming from zipline to airline. You understand? It's coming. But just looking at some of the raw data of investments that were made in airlift, right, to Tobago, and you compare that with a small destination like Nevis.
Right, yes.
Okay?
Which is also a ward of St. Kitts.
Right.
Yeah.
You compare that, and Nevis did not enter into that kind of arrangement. Yeah?
Right.
Right? But you see, we're going to look at that. We're going to talk about that on this campaign trail from zipline to airline.
As you mentioned airline, I can't help but think that there are certain people in the assembly that have populated the corridors of power in the past 20 years that have been a stumbling block to direct foreign investment, that have been a stumbling block to airlift coming, and no amount of new airport is going to fix that.
No.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Spartans, friends, anybody viewing, a new airport is never a bad thing, but it's the manner in which you go about doing certain things.
Yeah, but added to that too.
At the end of the day, all right, tell me something, Pastor Beans. Yes. If you are a foreigner, do you get on Google or the internet and say, let's Google the airport of Tobago? would that be the determining factor
No.
in what brings you to the
No.
island of Tobago?
No.
Or the other activities or the product
No.
that is being presented?
Man, I have gone to some of the smaller islands where you're flying you're flying in an airline where you hear. In fact, I flew to Barbuda, which is it's a beautiful island of, like 15 minutes from Antigua.
Right, exactly.
I flew it recently, and I was sitting next to the pilot in front. I sit next to the pilot, and the man said, "Hey, don't touch nothing here."
And let me ask,
yes.
in some of your travels and in traversing the Caribbean space, in the airport terminals that you've seen in some of the smaller jurisdictions, etc., were any of them, or rather the majority of them, were they state of the art and cutting edge and big and fancy and
the Antigua's a new airport, relatively new airport, right? But what I'm saying is that the size of plant that is proposed for Tobago, right, and I compare it with some of the other jurisdictions and the kind of numbers that these jurisdictions have, compared with the number that Tobago has been having.
Right.
There's no real empirical data to suggest that a larger airport will bring more people.
Not justifiable.
That's not, yes,
as I said
because
before,
as you rightfully said, it's not the size of the airport bring the people.
Does a tourist get on Google? Let's Google the airport in Tobago. Oh, this looks nice. I'm going to go to that island because of the airport.
No, that's
silly. It is the most silly thing.
Yes. So
that is a silly argument.
I agree with you that a new airport may not necessarily be a bad thing, but there has to be.
Bad.
But there have to be some assessments as to whether or not the investment that you're making, why you're making this is best, because we are still in the dark as to what is really taking place down there.
Exactly.
You understand? By now we should have seen some big billboard showing us all the things, so we don't know who own what and what going there and what going at the
what are the plans?
Of course.
What are the plans? What is the model of the building?
Of course. What all this secrecy about?
Right, exactly.
What is all this secrecy at this stage
and I
of the
think
game?
that secrecy and that lack of transparency has filtered down into everything else that we have experienced.
Remember, work start on the project and we can't see nothing up.
Yeah, well,
we don't even know. We don't even know what will actually take place. That is the question. That is the thing that is suspect in the minds of some of us.
Right.
That what do you need that acreage for? Yeah. You understand? And you have not given us any inkling enough say anything to us why you need such acreage.
One of the busiest airports in the Caribbean, in the Eastern Caribbean, at least is St. Martin. St. Martin is a hub. You can get to anywhere in Europe from St. Martin.
That's true.
Day in, day out, there are flights from the Netherlands, there are flights from Germany, there are flights from the United Kingdom, there's flights from US, Canada, and even as far as Asia, because there are charters that come from China and Japan, and even some of the Pacific Islands that fly direct to St. Martin. And some of the workers who work in the oil industry, etc., in Latin America, they stop in St. Martin.
Right.
And they are in transit, and then some go to Panama. Right? Now, in the case of St. Martin, right, you can justify them saying, let's build a spanking new airport.
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
I am seeing that we're ready to hand over to our team in Buku. They are in the Buku Integrated Facility Car Park. So let's go over to our team in Buku.
When God bless a man, good night, Booker Point. Spartans, good night. Tonight is a special night for everyone in Booker Point. You know, I'm standing here and I remember walking these streets, going by the post office in that old broken building up there, diving off the jetty down there. And although I never ate crab, hunting for crab in the swamp behind there, and it only brings back fun memories. And as I speak of memories, it is a great opportunity to return to this space. Let me recognize the leaders of this great institution. Mr. Watson Solomon Duke, the leader, and deputy political leaders, Mr. Fali Chavez Augustine, Ms. Faith B. Israel, Mrs. Alicia Roberts Patterson. Let me recognize the chairman, Dr. Sean Ned, and deputy chair, Mr. Cowan. We are happy to be here at this time. I spoke of my history. It drives me to a place. It drives me to a place that I studied recently by looking at Tobago's history. There's one of the great politicians in Tobago history by the name of James Alpheus Alexander Bigart. Bigart was the first elected representative to serve the Tobago interests. As a 21-year-old, he was the first pharmacist from the country. Very intelligent young man. And in 1898, when Tobago was ceded to Trinidad, all Tobago law was abolished. Tobago was demoted from its status to become a ward of Trinidad. And Mr. Bigart, as a young man at the age of 21, was required to return to Trinidad, to go to Trinidad to sit an exam to continue being a pharmacist. A law out of Trinidad that he was not prepared to follow. It so happened that it took them 4 years to bring the exam to Tobago, and he did the exam at that time. 26 years later, after Tobago was ceded to Trinidad, the legislature met regularly in Trinidad, but there was nobody from Tobago on the legislature. And when they called the first elections in Tobago, Mr. Bigart won. Where am I going with this? Mr. Bigart won against one opposition. The Trinidad Steelworkers sponsored a gentleman by the name of Mr. MacLeod. And Mr. MacLeod was born in England. They sponsored him. And Bigart won him 361 votes to 50 votes. And I asked myself, who are those 50 people? You have an election in Tobago. You have a Tobagonian going up against a guy who is born in England, sponsored by a union in Trinidad. And 50 Tobagonians voted against Mr. Bigart. It seems as though there's a long time now that sometimes Tobagonians are not anxious to embrace our own. And I dare say tonight, the PDP is your own. It's 100% your own Tobago people. You could feel proud to know that the leadership, the executive, and everybody else who helps this organization to function are part of you. This organization does not have to call anywhere outside Tobago to get advice on any matter, unless Brother Farley or Sister Faith or Brother Watson are in Trinidad. We might call them to get their opinion on a matter. Tobago people, it's about time we begin to understand our worth. You know, when I look at the politics and where it's going, I remember not too long ago, when you call on elections, our place was dirty with stickers. Paper stick up on your fence, on your gate, every lamppost. It was a Tobago-based party called the Progressive Democratic Patriots that made a conscious decision, a conscientious decision, in an effort to preserve our space and to maintain a clean environment. The PDP said, we are not sticking up any more paper anywhere in Tobago. Innovation They led the way, the PNM followed, and every other party has followed. Indigenous, homegrown discipline. And this is the people we are. This is the kind of people we are. And we have among us, and in the diaspora, both local and overseas, we have created and we have given to the world such greatness. And now we are at a crossroads in our history. After 21 years of one administration, we are being asked to consider another option. We are being asked to give the PDP one chance to make a difference on this island. Some people might say, I am a PNM or I am a this until I die. And I wonder from what part of our being that kind of rationale comes. Because if after 21 years, these guys are now rushing in to pave roads, to mix concrete, to build boardwalk, the Boko Jetty, an integral part of the fishing and reef tow industry, is too small. But yet somebody encroached on the jetty and erected a sign, a nice sign. So now, as part of my plan for this area, once or when you elect me as the area representative, we must consider a bigger jetty that could be merged into a marina. For too long I've been hearing about boats being stolen. In the dark of night, the devil's imps come in, they sail in, cut your rope and sail away with your boat because you're parked all over the bay. We could give you an option of a small marina where you could moor your boats. And not just moor your boats, but you also could have a security detail, have it well lit in the night, so then the whole idea of stealing of boats just disappears. Because when you come to do any mischief in this area, you are found out all at once. You move on. And why can't this idea be duplicated all around the island? I'm saying to the people of Bucco Point, there is no limit to the potential and the ideas that could lend to you having a better standard of living. The ideas are there, but the will to do it. Because when you do pretty little things, that's okay. You do pretty little boardwalks and flower gardens, that's okay. But they do not really deal with the hunger pangs that you feel when you don't have food to eat. My suggestion for Bucco is to bring to this area ideas that could lead to growth and prosperity. People could have food in the cupboard, you could have money in your pocket, and when I contact you and I'm broken, you could tell me with confidence, I run low, but I never run dry. Ladies and gentlemen, I told the folk at Mount Pleasant I suffer a grave disadvantage because this is the last night of the state of emergency. And because of that, we cannot run as long as we want to. Because though it ends at midnight, we still have to be home by 10. And tonight, we are blessed to have among us our deputy political leader, Mr. Farley Chavez Augustine. And he too would like to share some of his concerns with you. So at this time, I thank you for your listening here, and I will be back in this community to speak with you. I'll be cashing in on the reality that when you go behind the curtain, regardless of what t-shirt you run up and down the road in, you could see Sonny Craig, the Bamboo Bully Faye. You know me, man from yard, and you could give me the support to help to change your life and your destiny for better. Thank you very much for your concerns, your listening, and your attention. Put your hands together and let me welcome to the microphone my brother, my friend, and my deputy political leader, Mr. Farley Chavez Augustine.
night, Boko. Good evening to the residents at Boko Point. Special evening to all of you who are here to support Brother Sonny Craig. We are here because we want to impress upon you the need for change. You see, change is difficult. It's not easy to wake up one morning and decide to do something different, especially if you have done the same thing for all of your life. But I'm here tonight to impress upon you, Boko Point, that now is the best time to change what you have not changed over the last 40 years, and that's changing the way you vote. You see, if you want to take power away from those that are elected, you have to ensure that you hold your vote as sacred enough to decide not to vote along tribal lines, not to vote for clientelism, but to vote with your heart and your conscience. And if you allow your heart and your conscience to lead you, your candidate and your next era representative will be Comrade Sonny Craig. Brother Craig spoke about some of the plans, a few of the plans he has for this area. And Boko is one of the gems of Tobago. Now I will not be biased, and I will be honest enough to tell you that after Speyside and Shalloville and Castara, we have Boko Point as next in line for most beautiful. It's okay to come forth sometimes, but there is a lot we can do here to monetize this area while at the same time respecting our environment. Boko represents for us that fight to sustain the environment and to develop in a way that is environmentally friendly. Brother Craig spoke about the fishing industry and the need to protect our boats. I will add that there is a need for us to protect our fishermen too, because very often our fishermen go out to sea, and when they go to sea and they encounter danger, sometimes they radio in, they get a little signal, they call, and Coast Guard will say, we have no fuel, the boat is in Trinidad, the boat break down, and they can't help. And I'm saying to you tonight, Boko Point, if we want a vibrant fishing industry, we have to protect our fishermen. And that's why we have been making a pledge to you that we will ensure that located at every bay that fishermen leave from, we have systems set up that we can help rescue our own. The THA has no control over the Coast Guard or the national security apparatus. But if they fail to protect us, we have to protect ourselves. And so part of our mission is to ensure that our fisher folk have access to GPS locators, access to flares, access to satellite radios, access to equipment that can keep them safe, so that if they are in danger, we can come to their rescue. I have gone further before by telling you that one of the commitments we will give is that if a fisher folk, and I'm saying fisher folk because we do have some fisher women, if you call them that, as well, if a fisher folk is in danger and we need to mount a local rescue mission, the THA under the PDP is giving the commitment that we will provide the fuel necessary for you to go out and find them. Because I have experienced it. I have known what it is to pitch up money with my fellow villagers to buy sufficient fuel to get to a fisherman who sent us the coordinates. And sometimes the money is just not present. And sometimes we have to beg around the village for quite a while before we get enough money to buy enough fuel. Meanwhile, the fisherman that is lost at sea, their coordinates have moved, and you may not get in contact with them again. And so in developing the fishing industry, we have to protect our fishermen. I've also told you before that additionally, we have to look seriously at fish processing and how do we earn money from that. It's about time that Tobago and Tobagonians start concentrating on the value added to our products. We are still heavily involved in selling the raw product and not adding the value. And so for those who are doing the smoked fish, the dry fish, I indicated we will provide laboratory services for our agro-processors so that your goods can be certified accordingly. We promise you we will help you with packaging so your packaging looks first class and can fit on any shelf anywhere. We told you we will help you with the marketing so you will be able to move the product from the fisherman or the farmer all the way to the end user almost effortlessly. We told you that we are going to ensure you get into the market next door in Trinidad, where you don't need a visa, you don't need a passport, you don't need any special registration. You as a citizen can get your product into a market with over 1 million people. But that's just for the fishing industry. And there are many other areas that we are systematically rebooting because Tobago needs to be rebooted. Sometimes, you know, the computers start to stick, especially when it's a 40-year-old computer like we have in the THA. And so you might have to press Alt, Control, Delete, and then try to reboot. And if the reboot didn't work, you might have to pelt out the CPU and start afresh. But Tobago needs a fresh start. Not necessarily a fresh face as we were told in the past, but a fresh start. And this fresh start is not so that we can necessarily condemn everything in the past, but it is a fresh start so that we can achieve better than what we have had in the past. It's not enough, Boko Point, to believe that we have done our very best. It is not enough to be able to believe that we can't do better. And I keep preaching this sermon everywhere because it's not politics, it must be a sermon. I keep preaching it everywhere that Tobago can perform better. And my goal, our goal, Comrade Craig's goal, is that we can create for Tobago an example that even neighboring Trinidad can become envious of. I want when Trinidadians look at Tobago 4 years from now, they must say, nah, something wrong with we down here. How Tobago could develop so fast and we so far behind. Our goal is not to become even with Trinidad, but to become better than Trinidad. Our goal is not to compare ourselves with the rest of the Caribbean and become even with them. Our goal is to become better than them. Our goal is to set the stage for what development for a small island society should look like. We want to set the trend. In fact, PDP does always set the trend. We just set the trend and them just follow. And we want them to keep following us. We want them to look at us and say, but if Tobago can get it right, we can get it right too. And in order for us to get it right, we need Boko Mount Pleasant to get it right. We need Boko Mount Pleasant to get it right. And I'm saying to you, for the last 40 years, we are approaching the 41st anniversary of the THA in a few weeks' time on the 4th of December. And for the last 41 years of our existence, you have always voted the same. And I know sometimes it's difficult to imagine that you can get better after 41 years. Sometimes it's difficult to imagine that somewhere out there you deserve more. Now let's break it down quickly because I know we need to leave before 10. Imagine yourself in a relationship for 41 years. And imagine after 41 years your spouse died. Your spouse is no longer available to you. And after 41 years of locking yourself up at home, being with the same person over and over again, you become scared to try someone new, afraid. It is a natural feeling. But I assure you, there is a thrill, there is enjoyment, and there is a worthwhile adventure awaiting you. And so I'm inviting you, Boko Mount Pleasant, to join us for this change. And over the next couple of days, we have about 2 weeks left before the election. I need for you to listen to us on the lives, because on the other nights we will have a longer time to chat with you, and we can go through more development ideas beyond just fishing. We can talk sports, we can talk housing and land management again, we can talk business development again, we can talk to you about agriculture again, we can talk to you about youth development and changing education again. Just listen and participate. We are on every single morning with PDP Mornings on Tobago Channel 5 from 8:30 a.m. every single morning. So don't miss us in the morning. You can also view us every single evening on Channel 5 and on Facebook if you do not have Channel 5. We are available to you. As Mr. Craig walks, ask him any question you desire. Interrogate him. I give you permission so to do. I'm asking you to discuss big ideas with him, because brilliant minds spend time discussing ideas and not discussing Watson and Farley. And so I'm telling you, let's discuss the ideas and let we fix this together. Because when we say let we fix this, we are stressing on we, the collective we the people from Buku Point, we the people from Mason or Moriah, we the people from down in Boracord Crown Point, we the people from over in Lambo Lowlands, we the people from up in Patience Signal Hill, we the people from Bethesda, Lekoto, we the people from Plymouth Black Rock, we the people from Darrell Spring Wim, we the people from Scarborough Mount Grace, we the people from Bagatelle Bacolette, we the people from Goodwood Mount St. George, we the people from Belgarden Glamorgan, we the people from Roxborough Argyle, and of course, we the people from Paratoville and Summit Speyside. All of us as one island have to put our shoulders to the wheel and work together to get this done. Boko, Mount Pleasant, I'm ending by telling you, you can get better. There is better in store for you. In fact, we say sunny days are ahead. The dark clouds are quickly disappearing, and the sun will rise on December the 6th. And Mr. Sonny Craig will become your next area representative. I look forward to working with you in the future. I look forward to building out Tobago with you in the future. I look forward to creating in this beautiful environment a hub of business activities that are successful. I look forward to transforming your lives. Above all, we look forward to making Tobago the greatest little island on the planet. Thank you, Boko Mount Pleasant. Thank you for all of you who listen to us across all the different areas. We tried something new tonight. We tried to touch the road in different locations with spot meetings, while at the same time beaming live on Tobago Channel 5. And we thank you for joining us in this experiment. See you tomorrow when we will discuss more sunny ideas for the development of this island. Thank you. God bless you. Have a good evening, everyone.
So we've heard from our team down at Buku. We want to thank everybody for joining into the live this evening. And as our deputy political leader, Farley Chavez Augustine, says, sunny days ahead. Sunny days ahead. So we want to thank you for joining our live. for tuning in. For those of us on the internet, on Facebook Live, etc., thank you again for joining us as we say over and out from studio this evening. And join us again tomorrow as we continue with our PDP morning. Stay tuned and we thank you again. Have a blessed evening. Remember, rock and come in. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Vote and vote, you know.
Tobago, we bless. I tell you, we bless. Say we bless. Tobago, we bless. You don't know the rest. PDP for the win now.
Election start left Fally pass. To build back Tobago is the task. Tobago go never be the same after Fally beat them bad. Campaigning hard with me.